Okay, guys, welcome back to Let's Get Freaky podcast. Very excited. Got an awesome guest today. We have got Angel with us. Angel, how are you? Welcome to Let's Get Freaky podcast.
Hi again.
Hey again, yeah. I think last time we spoke, I said that it looks like you've got a fire in front of you, and that's how it looks
Yeah,
now.
my
It looks like
my
you got
lamp. We just put it on the other side today.
what is it? Is that a candle or is that a?
No, it's my light. I don't know why it does that. It just does it, but I like it.
It's a cool effect. It looks like you're sitting in front of a bonfire in your house.
Right, right. Without getting burned.
But yeah, yeah, it looks cool, man. So you're based in Florida. Have you always lived in Florida?
I was born in Daytona, raised in Orlando. I lived in Pennsylvania for 15 years, and I went to Gettysburg. Yes, loved it. Um, then came back to Florida 6 years ago.
Okay, cool. So I'd like to go to the start with your paranormal experiences. I know you've had a lot, as you say, we've talked before, and I know you've got a lot of experiences there. But I'd like to go to the start, where it all starts for you.
Well, the start was when I was a baby, so that would be my mom telling me um that there was an old I and for the life of me, now that I think about it, I don't know how she knew it was a black man, but she did. And she could hear him sing, and I would get fussy at night and she would hear him sing to me. So one night she told me that she watched him go clockwise around my room and go into a human form. And then she saw him go back around counterclockwise and then disappear.
Wow.
So for some reason, my mom is very gifted. Well, was very gifted. I lost her 27 years ago. It's hereditary in our family, and she was prophetic in her dreams. So basically, whatever she envisioned in her dreams would come true. And when she passed away, those gifts came to me, and it's pretty creepy. I'm still not used to it.
Wow.
It's something I've never gotten used to.
So
And
it was like passed on to you, her abilities.
yeah, when she passed away,
Interesting.
it was just like I got flooded with a whole new set of gifts. And the one thing that I will never forget is I was dating this guy when I was in high school, and she got real mad at him. And I'm like, why are you mad at Paul? She goes, he's cheating on you. And I'm like, no, he's not. Yes, he is. He was out riding horses with this girl that you two know. And his silver car was parked next to her white car, and they were riding horses. And I'm like, no, not possible. Because when you're a high school student, you're dumb. You believe whoever you're with. So I'm at home, and she called him and said, you need to come over because we need to talk. And I'm sitting there so nervous. And she goes to him, she goes, are you going to tell her or am I? And he goes, what do you mean? She goes, how was your horse ride? And his face dropped. And he's like, how did you know? She goes, I dreamt about it. And it was exactly how she said it was.
Wow.
Yeah. And now I do that. I can do that. And, and my kids think I'm weird because my one son was having girl trouble. And he's like, I like this girl. I don't know if I should ask her out. And I said, ask her out next Tuesday. You'll be dating. He asked her out. They were dating. He's like, you scare
Wow.
me.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's just how it is.
So
But anyway, so yeah,
how
when
often
I
would
was
you have
little,
dreams? Sorry. Oh, I'm sounding a bit funny there. How often do you have these dreams that become real?
it's just like when things bother me, um, I guess they come out of my subconscious and it's more easier for me to deal with in dream state.
Hmm.
And I work through things easier in dream state. And they tend to materialize, I guess you would say, that way. And it's worked that way easier.
Hmm.
Um, I can remember when I was little, I was like maybe 5, 6 years old. We lived in a single wide trailer, and me and my brother were in the living room. And in the kitchen, the light fixtures, that the covers for the lights. So my dad's in the fridge looking for something, and my mom and dad were like just bickering. They weren't fighting. But um my mom said, you better stop it because you're gonna piss off the ghost and something's gonna happen. She had this attachment and she named it Bart. And sure enough, you could see the screws coming out of the covers of the light fixture. And it hit my dad in the back. It
Wow,
was so crazy.
man.
I'm not kidding. So that happened, and he's like, okay, fine. I'll he stopped arguing. He didn't say another word
Yeah,
that
I
night.
bet that was it. He wasn't going to miss anymore. Wow. So this,
Bart was very mischievous,
so that
and
was
he
your mother's
protected my mom.
attachment.
Mm-hmm. Yep. He used to do all kinds of mischievous things. When we lived in Orlando, that was in Daytona. When we lived in Orlando, he would go next door to the my mom's best friend's house, and her mom, it was my mom's best friend's mom. He would paint motorcycle grease across her legs in the middle of the night. And she would get up and she would say, April, Bart was in my house. I had motorcycle grease upon my legs again.
Wow. Do you did you know who this attachment was? Was he like an old family member
No, after
or?
my mom died, Bart kind of left. So um, I don't know who he was. I do have one of my own called Matthew. When we lived in Oklahoma, he attached to me from the garage in the rental house we had. And he told me he was 8 years old. And okay, see, I have this thing about children, and I think you and I have talked about it before. I think they're demonic when that happens. I don't believe in children remaining, but for some reason, I've heard him scream before, and he sounds like a child because he screamed out "mom" to me before. And I haven't heard him lately, so I think he's crossed over. But he was with me for a good while. But he was with me for at least 10 years. But I used to hear him run like he was in fear. And then he would just disappear for a while. He would take my things and move them from one place, and I wouldn't see him for months. And I'm like, Matthew, I need my things back. And days later, they would return.
Wow.
But like I said, I haven't heard from him in a long, long time.
Did you see him?
No, I've never seen him. I've always felt him. And also in that house, the first night we moved in there, I felt I thought, okay, I'm so tired. I'm just feeling things. But I felt a finger go down my face. And I woke up and there was nobody there. I'm like, okay, I'm just tired. You know how you feel like you're imagining things? And I'm like, it's an older house. I'm imagining this. And then I felt it again. I'm like, I'm trying to sleep here. Leave me alone. And then it stopped. And I'm like, well, that happened. That was a thing.
Hmm. Yeah. And that was the
And those,
first night in a new house.
yes. And see, things like that, that doesn't bother me. But I think the last time we talked, I told you about my house of horrors.
Hmm.
Yeah. That house I would never want to experience again.
So we'll get back
Um,
in. We'll get back into that. I'm just going to write that,
yeah, I
so I
know
don't
you
forget it.
like that one.
Yeah. So I'm just writing that
Um,
down. But so these entities that attached to you and your mother, and that you could feel, was it like a knowing that they were there? Like how
um,
did you connect with them?
well, like Isaac said, I think it's like a natural thing for us because we're channelers. So it's like we just pull them to us
Hmm.
without even trying. And it's not that we even mean to, it's just something that naturally happens with us because it's how we are.
Hmm.
You know,
Do you
it's
think?
not like I asked for him to be with me, he just attached to me. I guess because at the time I had four kids. I still have them. I didn't throw them away, but um, it's just that I, maybe he needed a mom figure,
Hmm.
and he just said, "Hey, she's got kids that thought I'm going to join." It's very possible because
Yeah.
there are, I guess, spirit uh, children that are still here. I'm just very, very leery of that concept
Hmm.
because there are so many demonics that try to masquerade as children just to
Yeah.
get you used to them. And I don't like that.
Hmm.
It's just, being a mom, I just can't deal with that. Um, but I'm glad he's crossed over. I'm glad he's happy because a child doesn't need to be in like a purgatory of their own,
Hmm.
you know. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I don't hear from him often. But
So with like his name and stuff like that, is that just a knowing, or is that just a name you've given him, or?
no, that's actually a feeling I had. And when I asked him what his name was, that's what came through.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I do have something crazy to share with you.
Let's go.
You know how when people see shadow figures,
Hmm. Yeah.
they're usually white or they're black. I'm seeing them in color,
Interesting.
right?
Yeah. So when you say
I'm
color, do you mean
seeing
like,
them like I see you.
So basically, like a full-bodied apparition.
Right. I'm
Ah,
seeing them like if if you were to walk into my house and just sit down on the couch. That's how I'm seeing them now.
yeah, interesting. And is that a new thing that you're experiencing?
Yes. I've never seen that before.
Interesting. How often is that happening?
It's just started happening and it's been like for the past month or so. And anybody I share that to, they're like, what? And it's crazy.
Wow. So it's very fresh then.
And I'm like, I don't have friends over. So it's not like it's a memory in my eye. I had that written down because heard that on a podcast I was listening to the other day. It's not that because it's only my family that's in the house. So I'm like, why am I seeing full body apparitions walking around?
Wow. What sort of things are you seeing? How do they look? If you don't mind
They
explaining.
just they look at me and they just like completely walk through the house like they own it. And I'm like, why are you in my house? And who are you? There was one woman that looked like she was from the 1940s with the hairdo and everything. And then there's others that just whiz by like they're going like they're passing through.
Interesting.
And I'm like, something's not right. I mean, I know the veil's been thinning much earlier than usual
Hmm.
because activities picked up way sooner than usual, but this is crazy.
Interesting. So how often are you seeing this?
Um, at least 3 or 4 times a week, I'm seeing it.
Hmm.
And there's
So
no
often.
stress in the house because remember the dog I told you that bit me, that was biting me? Well, she's since passed on. So that element is gone. The house stress is gone.
Hmm.
So this shouldn't be happening. And I'm just like, okay, what seriously is happening?
Hmm.
So I'm about ready to do my own EVP sessions and all that to try to find out what all is here without trying to open too many doors.
Yeah, that's interesting
Because
though.
and also, since we're on the subject of them, Max and I have seen them in the hallway that I tell you goes to his bedroom, them playing peekaboo. There's a white one that plays peekaboo right around his corner.
Whoa. Wow. So it's not only you seeing them, but other family
No,
members are
no,
seeing these things as well.
my son sees them all the time.
Interesting.
Yep.
And would he say it's ramped up as well in the last month?
Yeah. Oh, he hears the mimic. Because he's changed rooms. He's gone to a bigger bedroom in the back of the house,
Hmm.
and he comes from his room to my office, and he asked me, "Mom, why'd you call me? What do you need?" I said, "I haven't said a word in hours. I haven't called you." And he's like, "But you were just in the hallway calling me." I'm like, "No, I wasn't." So I
Wow.
mean, that's still going on.
Yeah. We've been having that in this house recently,
Really?
hearing voices, and not so much me, but the wife and kids have been experiencing quite a lot recently. And I've been told by a lot of people that, as you say, this year it does seem to be because obviously we're in the spooky season. This is the time of year where things do sometimes hype up. There just seems to be more
Yes.
activity. Even though I feel like there's activity all through the year, but a lot of people are telling me that this year in particular, for some reason, there is going to be. So it's interesting that you say that. There's going to be a lot more going on.
But
The veil is
I
thinning.
think
The veil.
yeah, I think it actually started back in August this year, though.
Hmm.
I think it's gone much earlier than normal because I've been asking a lot of people, and they said they have absolutely noticed that activity has amped up earlier this year than normal.
Hmm.
And let me see what I got here. Da, da, da,
So
da.
I've got to tell you this. So my mum lives in France, and she was telling me this story the other day. Someone she knows. I don't know if it's her daughter or if it's the actual lady that told her, but this house in France. So this girl that's got this room in France in her house is seeing full-bodied apparitions walk through her room, like, and it's like ramped up. She's seeing it a lot, and sometimes sees loads, like in one night, just walking through the room, full-bodied apparitions. And I think she's near a graveyard, but the theory is that it's possibly some sort of portal where she lives. That these
Oh,
things are
crazy.
crossing over, and her room's just in the middle of whatever that portal is, basically. So it's
Right.
interesting that you're seeing a lot of things moving through. That's what reminded me of that.
Yeah. And then when that thing was playing peekaboo, that's when I messaged you and told you about his bedroom door opening and closing, but it wasn't moving
Yeah.
because I could the doors. I don't know if it happens in your house, but every time you open a certain door, it makes a different sound. So I know which door is opening.
Hmm.
And it kept opening and closing and opening and closing. And I'm waiting for him to come out, but the door never moved. And I'm like, okay, this is not good. This is definitely not good.
Because you've experienced a lot throughout your life. Does this stuff still scare you? Like when this happens, does it worry you? I
It
have asked you
it
that before.
yeah, it does. It bothers me a lot. Um, Especially because I've never dealt with this type of thing. I've dealt with see apparitions. I saw my great grandmother dead on my bed after she died when I was a kid. Yeah, that was the thing. That scared the living hell out of me. Oh my God. I walk into my bedroom and I had a canopy bed with the ruffles and everything. I was a frilly girl when I was little. And there was no fan on, no AC, no nothing. And then all the frills went up and there she was dead on my bed. And I'm like, I booked it out of my bedroom screaming my head off. I was terrified. But that's how
Wow.
she said bye to me.
Interesting.
Yeah. That was my first encounter with a full body apparition was her.
Wow. And that was your grandmother, you said.
My great grandmother, yeah.
Wow. So many people tell me that. Like, I hear that so often. It's the grandmother, great grandmother, that they see first. And I find that interesting.
Yeah. And uh, oddly enough, we went to go see her in Ohio. I was little and we lived down here in Florida. So we went to go see her before she passed away. And in her bedroom is where I got my first attachment. Yeah. It was a screaming guy, and it took me years to get rid of him. My mom's best friend got rid of him for me. He had he was very white with white hair, and I forget what color his eyes were, red eyes. And it was like really flowy, like he was always in the wind. and screaming at me constantly.
Wow. That sounds terrifying.
Just
Could you see him?
slightly. Yeah, I could see him all the time, and he never left me alone.
Wow. How old was
So
you when that happened? Sorry.
I was like 8 years old.
Man,
Yeah. So that was my first
that's
encounter.
wild. Is there any idea who that guy was?
But no, it was just somebody from her bedroom because we were in the living room and I was looking into her bedroom and there he was. And he decided to come home with me. And I was like, great. Okay. Let's not do this, but I guess we are.
Do you think we're all susceptible to getting attachments? And some of us, I talk to a lot of people that have possibly had attachments. They're not quite sure. It could be. And then some people have really strong attachments like you, where it's definitely. Do you think we're all susceptible to getting these attachments and for whatever reason?
Well, I think the younger the person is, absolutely.
Hmm.
But society and parents as a whole, they teach their kids, oh, don't believe in the boogeyman. This isn't real. And then they shut your brain off,
Hmm.
which I think is a shame because I think that if you are gifted, you should stay gifted. Don't let people shut your brain off like that. It's a beautiful thing to have. It could be a dangerous thing to have for sure, because God is only knows what can happen. And as I'm saying that, I'm thinking of Zach and Addie in New Orleans. Um, I know I brought it up to you before, uh, when Hurricane Katrina hit, and they said that Zach had gotten possessed, and that's why he flipped out and he killed Addie the way he did. I don't know if you know the case at all,
Uh,
but
if you
he
can
had
just,
dismembered her. And well, he did necrophilia first, then he dismembered her, and then he jumped off a hotel and committed suicide. Yeah, I'll give you the link, but it's one of my favorite cases. I really am interested in it. One is New Orleans. Who doesn't love New Orleans?
mhm.
It's a great city. It's a colorful city. It's an open, accepting city. But the Zakinati case has so many layers to it and so many things that happened in that case. And I don't think there's ever going to be a full understanding of what was going on in his head.
Mhm. Do you
So,
do you think a lot of times when people commit these horrific crimes and stuff that it is down possibly to possession?
yeah, exactly. And they lived above a voodoo shop.
Oh wow.
Yes, yes, absolutely. It was a thing. And he suffered from PTSD from the military too. So, I mean, there were a lot of factors in it, but it's a really interesting case.
Hmm. Yeah, man.
But
So,
it, like I said, it's a lot of layers. But the whole thing with Hurricane Katrina, and when it goes to New Orleans, they said that when that happened, Hurricane Katrina brought a lot of paranormal with it because it stirred up the dead. And I can
interesting.
see that.
Yeah, man. I've got to get into the House of Horrors with you because we got to
Okay.
revisit that one because that's what I might call the episode. That's quite a cool name as well. House of Horrors.
That works because that house, let me tell you what. Um, Is there any certain part you like about my house?
I want to hear it all, if you don't mind. You don't mind sharing us
Okay,
when you lived
so
there, how it started.
the back history on that house, we'll go there. The former owner, uh, he had committed suicide in it. Him and his wife broke up. They had a 4-year-old daughter. She left with the child, and he went crazy. He was bipolar, and he slit himself from shoulder to wrist and bled out in the bathtub downstairs. Yeah. And it sat empty for 2 years, and nobody wanted it because it was a suicide house. So the realtor is like, can you handle it because there was a suicide? I said, absolutely, I don't mind. What's another ghost to me? Boy, I got it cut out. Let me tell you what. So the day we walked in to go look at it, well, I got it online because my husband was already in Pennsylvania. And he had me find the house, and I told him the house I liked, and then he went and looked at it, and he's like, okay, fine. I walked in there, and immediately I felt like somebody stabbed me in the side. I wasn't in there 20 minutes. Love the house, though. Beautiful house. Even though I felt like I was in there in a past lifetime when I was 63 years old. Yes, I was
So
63 years old.
so that was another life in there.
Yes. I I can see myself. I was much shorter, curly, poofy hair, in a blue flower dress, and I was 63 years old in that house.
Wow.
And there was another addition to the house, and it had bedrooms all down the hallway. But it wasn't there, but I knew it was there. So we got in, we moved in, and we had a roommate, and he was playing solitaire one night, and my husband was at work. And I'm like, no, honey, you want to move this card there. And as soon as I moved the card on the table, I got smacked in the back of the head. The kids at the time were upstairs in their bed, and it was just me and him downstairs. And I'm like, well, I guess I shouldn't have moved that card because I got smacked hard. It was like that in the back of the head.
Man.
I was like, I guess it was Jameson. That was the guy who committed suicide. So I was like, that's enough of that. I'm going to bed. Good night. And our roomie laughed at me, and I went to bed. So that was that. And as time rolled on, I went to the basement to do laundry one day, and I got real creeped out. And so me, our roommate, and his best friend, we decided to EVP. Sometimes you need to leave the dead alone. You really do. Now, mind you, I'm the only female in the house. So once we reviewed the EVPs, it said she dies and her in a body bag. I'm like, well, damn, I'm not wanted. And then, so our best friend Kaz, who helped us do the EVP, he goes, let me get in this corner. I'm like, okay. And he did an EVP, went upstairs, and he reviewed it. He's like, Angel, come here. And I'm like, oh God, I don't need any more death. What's up? And he busts up laughing. And he goes, there's one in the corner that says he's not a fag. I'm like, what? And he plays it. He goes, we're walking up the stairs. He goes, come on, Angel. We need to get out of here. These ghosts are not playing nice. They're all fags. And then the reply was, hey, I'm not a fag. And I rolled so hard. It was hilarious. I was like, oh God, Cassie, that's great. So one day I'm by myself and I go down there to do laundry and I hear boom. And I'm like, damn it, Blue. Sorry, ma'am. I won't do it again. We found out that there was a big, we did history on the house. There was a big slave, I guess they had way back, there were slaves on the property, and one was named Blue. And he scared the bejesus out of me. I dropped my laundry. He ended up vanishing after that. He felt so bad. So some of them were very sweet. But then we get to the ones that weren't so kind. The boys one night, there was one room. It's a colonial style house. So you go up the stairs, there's a bedroom here and a bedroom here, and then a bathroom. Well, the bedroom here was so big you could fit two bunk beds, no problem. So all four of the boys had one bedroom. Well, one night I'm up the stairs. Boys go to bed, go back downstairs, go back up. Boy, I did this 5 times. So by the fifth time, I'm so mad because they're not listening. And I said, I go up there. Would you shut the hell up and go to sleep? And I go to turn around and little hands on the top of my thighs. And I hear this voice. Oh my God, Tommy, freaked me out. Why don't you shut the hell up? And pushed me down the stairs. I fell all the way down the stairs.
Man.
I'm like, Chris, you can make the boys go to bed because I'm not going back up those stairs.
Wow.
So that was the end of that.
So you
I
didn't
have been,
you didn't see that, but that you felt the push and you heard the
and it pushed me down 13 stairs. So when I say I do not believe in children being children, that is why.
that's wild.
And then I have been bitten in that house. I was bruised on both legs from top to bottom the whole 17 years we lived there. Very seldom did you see me without bruises. My hair was pulled. There was an old man that used to be in the living room that would yank my hair. Yeah. So
Could
that
you
was my
see
house event.
could you see him as well?
No,
Just a
I
knowing.
I had a hard time. I have a hard time seeing them. I can third eye see them, but I
Hmm.
don't visually see them. I hear them. The when we first moved in, I walked in between an argument of them because I was going to go upstairs, and then there's a man and a woman yelling at each other. And I'm like, can you two knock it off, please? Go away, get out of my house. Just go.
Do you think with that some of it is seeing like old energy, or do you think that they are entities that they are living there right now?
I think some of it could be residual because that house had changed hands 6 times.
Hmm.
I think some of it could be what do they call it? Stone tape theory?
Hmm. Where it's like trapped in the
Yes,
walls, the energy.
absolutely. Um, And I also think it's people that think they still own that house. I think it's a mixture.
Hmm. So when people say that, some people will say that ghosts can't hurt you. I mean, in your case, they definitely did. Man,
If they can't, what is it? If they're dead, they can't touch you. Really? Yeah, they can hurt you.
did you
They
see
really.
shadow figures and stuff like that, or?
Yeah, there were shadow figures. They just kind of stood there. My eldest son has problem with shadow figures in his apartment, and I told him, I said, all you have to do, stand your ground, tell them to get out, tell them to go away, and let it be at that, or just ignore them,
Mhm.
and then you'll be fine.
Yeah. I mean,
He
I've
goes,
I
well, what? He goes, what if they don't go away? I said, then you need to get more sober.
mhm. Wow. I mean, I've woke up and there's been shadow figures standing there above my bed, and that's terrifying. It really does scare me a lot.
I had that happen in the House of Hell.
Yeah,
I did. She tried to kill me.
a shadow figure.
Yes, I was dreaming. I was dreaming. I was laying down on my stomach because I have really bad back problems. I have so many stories from that house. Um,
I want them all.
and I was dreaming that this woman um had a butcher knife and she was going like this, getting ready to plunge it in my back. And I turned over and I looked up and there she was. And I'm like, you need to go.
This wasn't in the dream.
No, she was really there. And then in that room, there was a little girl who would scream and sing all night long to keep me up. There was one that used to kick my bed. It was so bad. That room was so bad. I mean, oh my God. I hated that room. I slept in the living room.
Mhm.
I would not go up there. And we had a paranormal team come in. It's not ghost. I just looked at them. It's your lighting, it's your whatever they could blame it on, they did. Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. Well, they were saying that it wasn't haunted.
Yeah. So I said, so me getting pushed down the stairs, hearing disembodied voices, seeing shadows, getting bit, scratched, slapped is all in my head. This is what you're telling me. Well, it's not spirits because we can't catch any. I said, just because you're not catching them now doesn't mean they're not here.
Hmm. Wow. So how long was you in that house for?
Uh, 17 years.
Oh, you was there for a long time.
Yes.
Wow. And the activity started from the start and continued at a lot of things were happening throughout that 17 years.
Yeah. And it actually it stopped when we left. So I guess they just didn't like us. My one adopted daughter, I adopt children everywhere. She was laying on the couch and we were just talking. We were just talking. Everything was good. And she was laying there. The couch got kicked at least 10 feet in the living room with her on it. She jumped up. She's like, Mom, I gotta go upstairs. I'm like, okay, baby, you go. I'll stay here and find out what this is.
Man,
Scared the hell out of
do you know the people that are living in there now?
her. I don't know. I always wondered if they're getting haunted. I always did, but um, I would assume so because they redid the house from top to bottom.
Hmm.
Because what had happened was the when we left, they didn't tell us to winterize the pipes, and the pipes busted from top to bottom, and it was ice all through the house, and it destroyed everything. So they had to fix the entire house. So with all the renovations, there's what I was looking for. Um, I think I would think that would stir something up, right?
Hmm. Yeah. That's something you hear a
So
lot with places that when people start moving
yeah,
stuff around, knocking down walls and stuff like that, it sort of affects the energy there, and they don't like that sometimes.
exactly. So I mean, I would assume that they would have something going on. I went by there once when my fourth son, no, second son got married, and it looks nice. The energy still feels bad,
Hmm.
but it looks really pretty. So I don't know if I can't look at it for too long, and I don't want to go back in there. Not after what I went through.
Hmm.
It's
How,
like a PTSD thing with me. I cannot do it.
how long have you been
And
out of that house for?
6 years. And what's the weird thing is, and maybe it's just me, but I have dreams about it that it calls me back to it. And I'm like, no,
Interesting.
not doing it. No. Have you ever seen Stephen King's movie Rose Red?
I don't think so. No,
You got to see it.
I'm writing it down.
But
Rose red. Okay.
in that movie, it calls one of the characters back to it, and that's what that house does to me.
Interesting. Because you said when you first went in there, you you felt that you'd been there before in another life.
I was 63 years old.
So that's
I knew
interesting.
where everything was. As soon as I walked in, I knew everything.
Interesting. Do you remember
I
how
knew
that
every
ended, that life? Or
no, no. I see. I wonder with getting stabbed in the side. I wonder if that's how I died.
interesting. Yeah.
Because I knew where every room was, what was. Being up at 2 o'clock in the morning makes you tired. But I knew where every room was. I knew every cupboard. I knew everything about that house. But I
That's
knew
wild.
I was 63. And even till this day, I think about that house and I think about what I look like, and it's the same image.
And that's
It hasn't
interesting.
changed.
And you're still getting that pull back there. And you was there in another
Mhm.
life as well. Interesting. I wonder what that is.
I wonder, if I went back there, I wonder what it would be like if I actually went in the house.
Hmm. Did you have good time? Because obviously you was there 17 years. Did you have good times in that house? Like, was
Yeah,
there
yeah.
periods of not a lot happening?
Um, I mean, we had good times. My last son was born there. He grew up his first 5 years there. Uh, the first four kids made friends there that, it was a lot of fun. It really was. But it was a lot of hell, you know.
Hmm. It
It,
must be
I,
tough when you're scared in your own home because that's so important that you feel comfortable where you live. Like, it's got to be
Yeah,
one of the most
because
important things.
like this house, I can be alone in. I'm not scared in this house. That house, nope, you couldn't pay me to stay alone in that house.
And that's interesting because you're seeing stuff in the house you're in now, and
Yeah,
but you're not getting that bad vibe, which is interesting as well.
yep. And then your other part you wanted to know about my hat man.
Yes. Where was the hat man?
So when we moved back into the other house, when we first moved back, we found this really pretty house. Well, I found it. I'm always finding shit. And I don't know where he came from because I never had an experience with a hat man ever before. So one day, everybody was gone. Hubby was at work. The kids were at school. Well, my one son was at work. My other son was at school. And when we first moved in, there was giggles of kids. I mean, like giggles of kids. And I was like, okay, new house, kid, the atmosphere is getting used to us. No big deal. I can deal with that. Little things don't bother me. But this, oh my God, I'm in the kitchen and I'm getting ready to cook. And all of a sudden, I feel suffocated, just so suffocated. And I'm like, what are you? So when I feel like that, I close my eyes so I can like third eye see. And I'm like, what are you? What are you? What are you? And then you've seen Bram Stoker's Dracula, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. That helps. The hat and the cape came to mind. So as I'm trying to figure out what he is, I feel like this being just coming back to his his chest and torso up on my back. There was no space. And then I was enveloped with just like arms like this going around me. And then all I could see was like a cape and a hat. And I was like, I can't breathe. I need you to back up or go away. You're on me. I can't breathe. I can't move. This is not nice. I'm not comfortable. And then it let go. And I was like, that was creepy. I've never felt that before. In all my paranormal experiences, I've never gone through that. And that shook me. So a few days went by, I didn't feel it again. And then again, the same thing. And I kept getting louder with it. And the more I resisted it or the more I ignored it, it it doesn't matter. It did not stop. So I figured, okay, we lived there for 5 years. Yeah, 5 years. So we moved here. Okay, new house, new start. It'll be done. We were here for a few months. Um, our grand, no, who was it got sick first? Oh, Max got sick. And then our grandson got real sick. And then I got real sick in Thanksgiving. And then his dad got sick. So, I mean, it was a lot going on the first few months we moved in. And then I'm like, okay, holidays are over. Everything will calm down. No problem. He showed up again. But this time it was different because I'm in the kitchen. It's always the kitchen. I don't understand. excuse me. And I'm in the kitchen and I'll take pictures so you can understand the schematics of my kitchen to my dining room. But I'm in the kitchen and we have a light over the sink. So if you don't want it too bright, but enough light to see. And then we have an overhead light for the kitchen. So I'm in there and I'm cooking again. I guess he likes food. But I'm in there and it's like it blocked out all the light and it embraced again. And I'm like, no, you're not doing this again. I thought I lost you. Now just go away somewhere. And it backed off. But every time I'm either in the dining room or in my office, like I'm now, or in my kitchen, he shows up. And I know it's him because it's that freaking energy. He
Wow.
has a certain energy, and I don't know how to describe it, but I
Mhm.
know it's him.
Yeah. Again, like we were saying before, you just have that knowing that that's what it is.
Yeah, he has a certain vibe,
Hmm.
and I I don't know where it came from, but I was telling Kevin about it. Kevin doesn't even know,
Hmm.
and Kevin's very knowledgeable.
So this is Kevin from Where the
But
Weird Ones Are. Shout out, Kevin.
yes, and I've even asked Isaac from Hidden in the Shadows.
Shout out, Isaac. Two cool dudes there.
Awesome men. I love having them as my friends.
Hmm.
But I don't understand why he's taken to me. And I thought moving would keep him in one spot, but it didn't.
So is this entity still with you now?
No, I don't feel him at the moment, which is good because I'm calm. He makes me very uneasy.
Hmm. When was the last time you had an experience with that?
Yesterday, actually.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Man. So this is an ongoing thing.
Yeah, it is. It's an ongoing thing. There are sometimes he'll leave me alone, but
Hmm.
most of the time he is with me.
So have you seen this entity, the Hat Man?
Like literally seen him or
Mm. I know you can see in your third eye, but have you seen him like physically in
mm-mm,
front of you?
no. I know it. He's there.
Mm. Man, that doesn't sound good. That doesn't sound good that it gives you the bad vibe, because obviously you experience a lot of paranormal. You've got a lot going on around you, but you know that this is negative. That doesn't sound good.
Right. And I don't need another hell house starting.
No, no, that's for sure.
Or
That
else I'm going to be texting you endlessly.
But you can always tell me. I know you've got a lot of other great friends. This community is great. Like there's a lot of people you meet that you
Yes.
can talk to, and and it's really good. We've all had experiences, and we're all there for each other to share when something happens. Man, that's terrifying. The Hat Man
Yeah,
is a lot of people experience the Hat Man. It's something I'm hearing a lot more. It's so common. What it is, I don't think anyone really knows, but
I I wonder I wonder I think it was called the Philip experiment. Remember that?
can
I
you
wonder if
tell
it's
us what that is?
become
Because I
such a
can't.
commonplace that maybe that's what it is.
What was the Philip experiment? Sorry.
Okay, the Philip experiment, and let me make sure I get it correct. But the Philip experiment was
Hmm.
generated to see if people could believe in one thing so much that it would actually manifest and take on a life of its own. So I'm wondering if that the Hat Man is possibly that,
Hmm. That's
because it seems
interesting.
like the yeah, I found that very interesting when I heard about that.
Hmm.
That's why I tried to not pay him much attention, but it's just kind of hard not to when you get this overall creepy vibe.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. It's kind of like the Slender Man. Like the Slender Man we know is a made up entity, I believe. But people
Yes,
do see it. And do we create this, I don't know, do we manifest these things? Do we actually bring these things into our world from us in some
right.
cases?
Well, it's like those girls that killed for Slender Man. I mean, really?
Hmm. Or
How
is that
stupid can you be?
an entity that's showing itself as that? I don't know, but it is interesting. It is interesting that we can. I was talking to someone. I can't remember who it was, but they were telling me about this house, and again I can't remember what the house was, but it was a very a house of high strangeness where a lot of stuff was going on. And he said he saw this. It was like a massive energy, and I think it was Jesse Orney that told me this, and he said that he feels like this is all the energy that people pump into this place that's sort of manifested into something. Like it's actually been created by our fears and us, basically. But it's now a thing.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that.
So
That
it's
makes
in,
sense
it's
because
interesting.
the mind's very powerful.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, for
The
sure.
mind is very powerful. I know this one time, true story, I swear it. My husband and I were fighting when we first got married. We were fighting in a grocery store. And my mom got so mad because she was tired of hearing us fight. She got so mad that she actually made a tomato fly off the produce and slam into the floor. Yes.
Wow. So was this after your mum passed? Like this is
No, this was when she was like 41.
okay.
So this was before she passed, but she was so mad because she got agitated hearing us fighting that she made it, but with her mind it fell. Yes.
Was she there?
And then, yes. And then one night at work, she was like so tired. And this is how powerful the mind can be. She was so tired at work one night. She used to work at a restaurant called Steak and Shake. And they used to have to take uh, toothpick holders and fill the toothpick holders. She's like, I don't want to fill the toothpick holders. I'm too tired. So she just kept staring at it and staring at it and staring at it. And they started floating. And then they went into the toothpick holder. And she had people that actually seen it happen
Wow.
because she didn't
That's
want to do it.
wild.
So yeah. I was like, I want to grow up and be like her one day.
So you've got your mum's abilities, you said, transfer to you. Do you think at one time or now you could do something like that?
I tried. I don't have the patience, but I did make a little piece of paper move.
Yeah, well, that's a start. That's a start.
Yep. But yeah, she did that. She
Wow.
made toothpicks telepathically move.
Hmm.
Yeah. I was like, go, mom.
They do say we only use, what is it, 10% of our brain or something like that. And I don't know how they know, but I don't know. But that's what they say. Is there,
Yep.
if we could unlock more and more, there's films about it where people can do these mad things, um, floating and stuff like that. Could we do that if we unlocked other parts of our brain? Maybe, you
That
know?
would be amazing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yes, she said she did that. Oh, and my son finally told me he has ghosts that watch him before he goes to bed.
What now? That's happening now as well.
Yes. Yes, we were talking about it because I told him I was going to be talking to you again.
Mm.
And
Wow.
he's
What?
like, well, tell Tommy this. And I'm like, okay,
I'll have to get him on the show as well.
right?
Yeah. How old is your
He
son?
likes that I talk to you.
That's cool. How old is your son?
He's going to be 15 in December.
Oh wow. So he's young.
But they
Ah.
all know how to, they've all been raised in this. And since um, I've been doing paganism for 24 years now, they I give them the choice whenever they want to start learning
Mhm.
at the age of 14.
Interesting.
So
So did your son see them as full-bodied apparitions?
I don't know if he's seen the full body apparitions yet. But he does tell me that he sees shadows. He hears the mimic voices. Um, he does get scared when he doesn't like the mimics at all because it bothers him that it's me. He's very protective over me,
Hmm.
and that bothers him. But when he says that when he goes to bed and he sees them watching him, it doesn't bother him because
Wow.
he's been raised in it.
Yeah.
So he's pretty desensitized to it.
He's braver than me, that's for sure. I could I couldn't handle that.
You probably run scared.
I'd be out of there, man.
Well, I've had one time before a seizure, I had three black men poke me in the head before I went to sleep. That was that was trippy.
Was that in the house
They
you're in
cut
now?
yeah. And I actually saw them. I didn't I literally saw them. And they all looked at me and then they went whoop, and I was like, and then the next day I had a seizure.
What do you think that was? Who do you think they were?
I I think they were just passerbys,
Hmm.
but that was funny. That was a thing. Um, in this house too, there's a little girl that sings at my bedside, but she's nice. I like her. She's pretty cool.
See, again, that sounds terrifying to me. I know you get a good vibe from that, but if there's a little girl singing by my bedside, I am gone.
I'll send them to you.
Yeah, no. Oh,
I
I've
said,
got
go to my mate's house. He needs a lullaby.
no, no. I struggle sleeping as it is, but I got to tell you this. Last time we talked on Zoom, right? And I'm not saying this was anything to do with you, but it was just funny that after we spoke, so you telling me a lot of experiences and freaky stuff, obviously as we've talked today, very scary stuff as well. And so we finished talking, and it was about probably 3 o'clock in the morning UK time. So I do this thing when I'm doing an interview, which most of my interviews are that time. It's during the night. Um, and so I always leave all the lights on downstairs, right? So then I come upstairs and I'm in my studio and the lights are on downstairs because I finish and then I go back down, have a cup of tea, have a little chill out after whatever. I can't go straight to bed after doing an interview. So we finished. I went downstairs and all the lights are off downstairs, right? And I'm like, well, maybe I did turn them off, but that's weird because I never do that. I always leave all the lights on. It's possible that my wife or one of the kids went downstairs and turned them all off, but I very much doubt that as well because I would have heard them. I would have thought. So I was freaked out. So I've turned all the lights back on, right, all around the downstairs, front room, kitchen. Got into my front room, gone back into my kitchen. The light was off. The light was off again, and I was like, no, surely not. Sure, and I was freaking out, Angel. I was like, this is so strange. I've turned the light back on, and I'm like, I don't know what that was, but it was very weird. It was very weird.
Has that happened to any other guests that you've talked
No,
to?
that's never happened before. So that's your fault. It was just weird because I know that I leave the lights on. You know, I guess there is a chance that I could have turned, but I don't. I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have turned them
Well,
off.
one of my friends really like you, Tommy.
Oh no. As long as it's not that screaming man. No, I don't want that. That's for sure.
Oh, that's
Uh,
crazy.
yeah, it was weird. And I remember because obviously I panicked, turned all the lights off, went in the front room, then went back in the kitchen and the light was off again. And I was like, come on, surely
You're
not.
like,
Turn the light back
I
on. And I'm like,
know I just turned that on. Come on
yeah.
now.
So I'm worried about ending this interview. But
Well,
I
if you hear glass breaking, you know I sent a friend.
yeah. Oh man. You keep them with you. Okay. I've loved talking to you again. It's always good talking. We talk a lot on social media. We talk a lot, and you're an awesome person. And I want to thank you so much for coming back on, sharing your. I know this will be the first time, so I'll be putting this out very soon. But yeah, thank you so much for coming, talking to me, sharing your experiences, being so open. And yeah, you've got a lot going on around you, even still. So,
Yes. So hopefully I will have EVPs and thermal and all that to share with you again.
yeah, yeah. Keep me posted with what happens, and
I will.
stay safe. That's the main thing. And yeah, just keep being awesome. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you, Angel, if they want to reach out to you, talk to you, or
My main thing that I'm on is Instagram. You can reach me at Angel Hinman.
awesome? I will share your link in the show description so people can find you. Angel, let's do this again soon. I want to talk more. I know there's more we can talk about. And yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Guys, if you
Always fun.
guys, if you've enjoyed this episode, share it where you can. Uh Reach out to Angel if you'd like to talk to her. She's very friendly. She's got a lot of experiences. Um, guys, come back soon. We will have more freaky conversations for you. We'll see you soon. Stay safe. Keep it freaky. Bye for now. Thank you.